here to break it all down. Alex Webb, Bloomberg Gadfly columnist, who's called the end of the Apple iPhone supercycle. It's written in stone now. You've called it dead, Alex. Why?
I mean, it depends. That obviously is predicated upon the idea that the supercycle even started.
Yes.
And there was a certain amount of doubt going into the supercycle that it would be so great. Ultimately, iPhone sales are flattening and smartphone sales are flattening, if not declining. Apple, though, is, or so far has been able to keep revenue growing because it's able to offer charge higher prices and also generate more sales from services. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the end is near for Apple itself. It's not good news for the suppliers, though. If Apple improves its margins, they don't get a piece of that.
Well, Apple is bringing more and more in-house, Alex. At what point does it become very profitable for Apple to do that and margins expand again? And, OK, suppliers will lose out, but so what for Apple, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's the gamble that Apple is making, that they might not be selling as many iPhones, but they will make more bucks for each iPhone they sell. What's interesting with today's news, it was really focused on an Austrian company called AMS, and they do not actually make the sort of chips that it's easy for Apple to spoof, to copy. They're not based on silicon, so what Apple does is it designs these chips in-house and gets a Taiwanese company called TSMC to manufacture it for them on their behalf. The stuff that AMS does isn't copyable, but their sales are declining, and so that's really indicative of what's happening.
And as you said in your piece, great piece, AMS is placing chunky bets on iPhone components, 3D sensors. Was that a bad bet, or is that going to pay off for them?
I think ultimately it will pay off, because it may just not be as lucrative as they might have hoped at one stage. The odds are that other phone makers, and I think this maybe has been reported already, are going to come into the 3D sensor space. So far, you've got it on one phone, on the iPhone 10, and it's only sort of facing towards the user, front-facing. You're going to have a rear-facing camera in future models, which allows better augmented reality functions, and not just in iPhones, but in Androids and Samsungs and all the